Welcome to another powerful episode of the Me Plus Ultra Network. I'm your host, Scott Joseph, and today we're going to dive into one of the biggest challenges, at least in my opinion, that challenges a lot of businesses today, a lot of business owners face, and that is how do you escape the commodity trap, and stand out in a crowded marketplace? How do you rise above all that noise? I think too many businesses find themselves stuck when it comes to competing on price. You can call it race to the bottom. They're offering the same services as everybody else, have all the reasons to come in as everybody else. Hey, we've been in business 40 years, 50 years, whatever that might be. And they're really struggling to build what brand loyalty, really what it comes down to. But what if you could break free from the race to the bottom and build trust and long-term client loyalty? So joining me today is Arnold Gacita. He's a marketing brand development expert. You know what he really is? Arnold's a great businessman. I interviewed Grant Cardone once. I said, "Are you a marketer or a sales expert?" And he goes, "I'm a great businessman." And that's what Arnold is. He's a great businessman and, more importantly, a leader. And he has successfully avoided becoming commoditized with the strategies he's going to reveal to everybody today. He's going to share real-world insights, proven tactics, actionable advice that's going to help you differentiate your business and secure your place as indispensable partner in whatever industry you're in. So you're tired of feeling just like another option on the shelf. This conversation's for you. Let's jump right in. Arnold, welcome to the Me Plus Ultra Network.
Thanks for having me on. It's always good to be on with you.
Love it. We always have great business conversations. We were talking earlier. I love this topic because the reality is the marketplace, the world tries to paint us in what I like to call a commodity corner, because when you become a commodity, it typically lowers the price. Everybody's racing and selling on price alone, which obviously hurts profits and very hard to differentiate yourself when that's your only claim to fame. So before we get started, in case there are people in this world that don't know you yet, all right, I want them to know who Arnold is, what got you here. What are some of the milestones in your business career that allowed your business, that kind of gave you the experience necessary to allow Petra Automotive Products to avoid becoming a commodity?
Man, I think in my career, I think my first claim to fame, if you will, in our industry was exactly that. So I used to work for a very large company, one of the largest in the chemical industry. That I created the idea of we don't sell a bottle. We sell this other stuff for buying the bottle. And so we began to sell programs versus product.
Yeah.
And that was the success. That's what everybody, I mean, that's what everybody in the industry, so my marketing team and myself developed the program selling approach in the chemical business, and every competitor did it. Every competitor switched to it when they saw it. It took them a while, but they were still selling the bottle, right? Which every year and every time there's another competitor, that becomes a commodity because you
Yep.
have more competitors. The market gets saturated. But when you do programs, then you're different than just the bottle. So it's not a matter of buying the bottle. So we created the program selling, and that made the entire industry change. Not everybody followed, but the majority and the big players followed to program selling versus product selling. So when we talk to owners at dealers or OEMs or et cetera, it wasn't just about pricing or what the juice was in the bottle. It was about the program that came along with it.
So I'm familiar. My own stores use your product. So clearly I'm a believer in what you guys do. But to the heart of this conversation, right? I know that, like you said, the juice in the bottle. I didn't know if you were talking about the bourbon or so,
Yeah.
but
Well,
the juice in the bottle, let's just assume, and I know you're going to say you have the best juice in the bottle.
of
All right.
course.
But there are plenty of companies, right, that have the best product. But sometimes the marketplace doesn't. They care. They want to buy the best, but they also don't want to admit that you're the best, and they're going to keep. In other words, you're just. Uh, One of our
Well,
J&L
they're going to
clients
try
is
to keep you in
oil.
check, right? Right.
Yeah, it's Shell oil, right? And so everybody says, well, do I buy the manufacturer oil? Do I buy Shell and Pennzoil, right? And
Yeah.
and while Pennzoil might be a higher quality grade of oil, the manufacturer or the dealers are sitting there saying, my customers don't care. Oil's oil. They just want their car running. All
Yep.
right. And this
Yeah.
is the cheaper price. So why do you think that these companies who have superior products, right, fall into this trap?
So let me answer that in twofold, right? So one, yes, typically, um, depending on the level of person you're speaking to at the dealership, he's probably not going to buy the line that you have the best chemical out there in the world. He's probably going to assume that they're all about the same. What he's worried about is I just want to make sure it doesn't hurt the customer's vehicle,
That's right.
right? And if the customer's buying zero W20 and zero W20 and forget all this other talk about magic in the fluid. So that proves the point of why we have to have programs, right? Because even if the fluid is truly and honestly the best, and I can tell you, I know in my world, right, we know chemistry. The majority of the dealers don't know chemistry. The majority of the dealer owners don't know chemistry.
And they
They're
don't
busy
care.
and they don't care. They're busy with other things. That's not their priority, right?
That's right.
In fact, the caring of the chemistry, the mechanic cares about it, and then it quickly goes away as you go up because he's doing the car and he wants to make sure he doesn't do it twice and it cleans it, etc. So, regardless of how great your chemistry is, and there's only a few that have really good chemistry, that's why you have to have program. To me, the juice matters. It matters to me because even if nobody cares, I want to make sure that the consumer buying the product is getting what we told them they were going to get or what the dealer said they were going to get.
That's
Okay,
right.
so that solves that problem, but that isn't going to sell it. It's going to be the programs because again, Shell W20, Pennzoil W20, made by the same people, Exxon, zero W20, Castro zero W20, all synthetic, GF6, approved by API, same thing,
Yeah.
right? Yes, it's
That's
made
right.
by different people, but there's this guideline that they all have to follow, okay, to make sure that it doesn't void a manufacturer's warranty. And there could be little magics here and there, but at the end of the day, it's gotta meet this basic qualification to go in the vehicle and not harm the vehicle and be accepted by manufacturers not to go warranty. That becomes a commodity. There's
I just want
nothing
you
that
to your point. Yeah, I just wanted to as a buyer. Let's say I'm a car owner, right? And I just want it to do what it's. In other words, if you're going to
yeah.
claim it's going to improve performance and all that, fine, do that. Don't damage my car because odds are I'm getting another car in 3 to 5 years anyways. So it doesn't
Yeah,
need to.
and most look, I've been at quick lubes, right, where I'm hearing the customers in the lanes literally tell. I mean, I'd say 9 out of 10, whatever the manufacturer says. That's literally what they're saying, right? And I've heard like when there was a shortage of, I think it was zero W or 5W20 maybe, or 0W20 actually. And the technician would say, "Well, we're out of 0W20, but we can use 520." And the consumer would say, "Well, what does it recommend? 020? Oh, no, 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 I don't want to put anything else in the car, right?" And really nothing was going to happen. But it just if the manufacturer said use this is what I use, it becomes a commodity. There's no program attached to it. They just don't want to cause harm. That's the same thing many times with the owner of a dealership. I want to offer my customer something. I don't want to cause them harm. And typically they think they just want the lowest priced item. And they're not going to sell the lowest priced item. I tell owners this all the time. This can cost you $5 and mine can cost you 10. I can tell you all day long, mine has a better chemistry. You're not going to believe me. But what I can tell you is this: if this $5 bottle sits on your shelf for more than 9 months, it's dead inventory and you're going to write it off. If this $10 bottle moves from your shelf within 30 days, I'm making you money.
That's right.
That's what I'm bringing to the table. That's the program, the training, how to teach your people to move this $10 bottle versus buying a cheap one for 5 that just sits on the shelf that nobody talks about until you go do inventory.
And therein lies the key to this, right? Your client isn't buying. This is going to sound horrible to say. Your client isn't necessarily buying how it's going to improve the person's car. They want to make sure that they're offering good products and stuff like that can help. But in the end, right, it's, can I make more money at the same time? They want to make more money. They want to offer clients a good value, be able to do it, and then make money at the same time. And what you're saying basically is, listen, and we all that way. Every business is. So what is the real reason my person's, buying this car, right? I want my clients to have improved performance, this and that. But as we just talked about, most consumers aren't going to know that difference.
They don't even know the brand that's going in the car.
Correct.
They don't. So most owners want a program that, obviously, they're in the business to make money. So a program that is going to give them profits while giving the customer a good service, right? We believe we have a great service, but that's for our benefit and the consumer's benefit. We understand that when talking to the owner, it's not about that. It's about these other things, right?
Right.
And so it's important to be able to talk their language.
All right. So I'm going to dive into that in a second here. Let me ask you a question. What are some of the early warning signs that a business has kind of fallen into this commodity trap, or getting painted into that corner, so to speak? What do you think those are?
More competitors and pricing, right? If you see more competitors selling the same thing, and you walk into more potential customers or existing customers, and they tell you, Johnny has it for 5, Bill has it for 2, why are you selling to me for 5? You got a commodity. And if you based your business on, hey, this is oil system cleaner and it's $5 and nothing else, you will lose that game. You will
So
lose that game in a heartbeat. So, and I tell people this all the time. Like when I'm speaking to owners, I go, look, we're not toilet paper. Toilet paper is a commodity.
Yeah.
Okay. You can go buy the cheapest toilet paper and soap you want if that's what you want to do. Okay. And there's probably no programs attached to it. Now, there are people out there like the uniform people that also do janitorial stuff, and they bump that price up. Why? Because they have a program. You, Mr. Owner, don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go to your dealership, make sure you're stocked up, make sure they're on the rack. I'm going to do it for you. So there's a bump in price because now there's a program attached to that janitorial stuff. In our case, the same thing. So it becomes a commodity when more people sell it, and it's all about price with no programs attached.
Yeah. Why do you think, if there's businesses out there that have relied on this low price strategy for a decent amount of time, why do you think that's going to hurt in the long run, or what's the danger in that?
Well, something's going to happen. Either somebody's going to come up with programs to kick you out for the same product, but they're going to kick you out because they have better programs, better service, better relationships. Or more and more competitors come on. Somebody's going to find a way to make it cheaper, and you're going to lose. I mean, there's no long-term, in my opinion, and I've seen it before with companies, there's no long-term sustainable business plan if you only sell on price. And if you only sell on price on something that more and more people are selling the same thing of, you're in trouble.
Yeah. So let's get into the specifics. All right. Tell me, you keep mentioning these packages, these programs, right? Why, as a dealer, do I care about that? In other words, and I'm not trying to get this into a sale. I don't want this to be that, right? But what I guess where I'm getting at, I want to really educate everybody watching or listening to us. And by the way, audience, we're streaming live, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and some of the comments come in. Some of the comments do not.
Are you doing truth?
Well, we get comments that come in on social, but not all the platforms come into the StreamYard, which is the program we use to stream it all out simultaneously.
Okay, all right.
So if we don't answer a comment or a question, it's only because we don't see it on our platform live. We'll come back, Arnold and I, and come back and answer it. If Arnold doesn't see it, I'll make sure to tag him in a social post so he can get in there and answer any questions. So if you have questions, ask. But where I'm going with this is, all right, so you got these programs. I know you guys go over the top on the training and support stuff. So talk to me about like when you say package or program, what does that look like, and why is that important in terms of differentiating yourself?
Well, because again, so the dealer probably has two things in mind, right? He wants to make a customer happy and he wants to make profit at it. Okay. So if I come in and say this is your fuel injection additive, every car needs it once a year, if not more. These are the reasons. This is my chemistry, right? And I bore them with that, and it costs $10, and somebody else comes in and says it costs five, and it's chemistry and everybody needs it and once a year, if not more. He's probably going to go with the five, right? But if I come in and go, look, maybe similar chemistries, obviously it's not because one's 10, one's five, but let's just for the sake of argument say it's the same chemistry. Why is my 10? Because when you buy this and put it on your shelf, are going to need your service advisors to sell it and your technicians to do it. Who's going to train them? There's a cost to that. So I need to train your advisors to be able to talk to the consumers about the advantages of it so that they can sell it. Then I need to train your technicians to know how to apply it and use it. There's a value to that. So the owner likes that because now the training aspect of him having to train his employee has been, in this aspect, has been taken away. Somebody else has taken it, all for the price of a product. Okay. Now, adding to that, okay, my product comes with a lifetime warranty for the consumer. What does that do for the dealer? That's a retention program that doesn't cost the dealership anything and brings the customer back to keep buying this bottle so that their car keeps having that warranty. And I can go on
Mhm.
and on and on and on. I'm adding this value, okay, to what the dealership is, to what the dealer owner is buying, and I'm taking away the headaches from him, right? You're worried about customers coming back. I'm going to bring them back. You're
What
worried
what
about
you
customers being satisfied. Go ahead.
That's right. What you just said is key when you said taking the headaches away. When you offer all this training, two things are happening, right? One, my team should be better at selling. So therefore, I'm now appreciative because, my people should be making more money. The dealership or my business should be making more money. Great. Products moving. I'm reducing dead cost. I'm minimizing that cost difference, like you had mentioned earlier, right? In your bottle and say the other. But you know what you've really done subconsciously, and you mentioned it. You said, I've taken the headache away. If my team is improving sales and net profit, I can measure that. I can't measure my headache. So let's say I'm coming in as your competitor, right? And I'm undercutting you. Oh man, Arnold does a good job. We got to undercut him. My is to just sell cheap and get the stuff out, right?
There is a competitor like that.
Oh yeah. We all have. Every industry has that, right? And so that's
Yeah.
why I love this specific topic and theme of this show. As a client, now I'm weighing, all right, this guy's $3 cheaper, $5, whatever it is, doesn't matter. At some point, I'm like, but what's it worth? What's my time worth? What's my headache worth? If I don't have, if I move away from Arnold, if I leave Arnold, defect, and move to this person, somebody's got to take all this on, and I don't trust
Well,
my own
and
team to
and
do
and
it,
and
and
the
I
complaints,
don't want to
right?
do it.
And the complaints because you make it a cheaper product, that then the technicians are an uproar because it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And when they give the car back to the customer comes back. So now they're upset because they got to redo that work and not get paid on it because you made a decision to buy a product that wasn't that great.
Yeah,
And
you
then
know when we
the service advisor is upset because he's dealing with the car he already got paid on. And then the managers have said all those complaints will work their way to the owner every week, every
yeah,
month until the
that's
owner's
right.
like, "My God, please."
And yeah, let's get to. Did you Was this something when you started Petra? How long ago did you start Petra?
15 years ago.
All right. When you started Petra, is this stuff you had already learned and integrated right away? Or was there this window of time where maybe you got your nose bloodied a little bit and you finally said, we got to take a different approach to this?
Well, I think I got my nose bloodied in my previous company, right? I think I tell people all the time in my past company, I learned what to do and what not to do, right?
Yeah.
So I learned the things that work and I learned the things that didn't work. And I remember I didn't own my other company. So I had a very large Fortune 250 company that owned us. They made decisions that I did not agree with that caused a lot of headaches. I learned don't ever do that.
Yeah.
Right? And then I also learned the things that did work that I said, okay, this works and this makes sense. And
Right.
and and I also learned the things that people um overwhelmingly corporate and locally grabbed and attached to, which was like program selling. So when you have, like in my old world, a very large corporate company, and then you're dealing with distributors that may have two or three people in a certain territory, and we all agree that what you just said is a home run, it's a home run, right? And so that we that idea came here. Now what we did here is we put it on steroids, right? Because you were very controlled and tied down in the previous company. Here we kind of let that loose.
Yeah.
We want to be, and we have national accounts that come in here for training, and there's one in particular that they laugh all the time because I use programs. And so they have a betting game, a drinking betting game. We should do it with bourbon instead of tequila. How many times will Arnold say programs?
Right.
Because I say programs all the time. It's all about the programs. Nothing matters if the programs aren't there. I've told dealers, like I've gone to dealers and the guy says, well, we already know how to sell this stuff. We use your competitor. We're going to switch to you. We don't need training. And I go, well, look, I really don't want to be part of it. And the guy looks at me like I'm crazy, right? And I
Yeah.
know it sounds crazy, but I know how good we are. And if you follow the process, I'm
That's
going
right.
to make you a lot of money. Customers are going to be satisfied, and we're all going to live happily ever after. But if you break that process, it's not going to work. So I need to train your advisors, right? A bottle on the shelf is not enough.
You know what it comes down to? I asked you that last question because I was going back in my career and thinking to myself, I wonder if Arnold's mirrors mine. But you have a lot. You had going into Petra, you had more experience than me, and I wish
I
I
did.
had that. Or I
I had
and
18
quite
years
honest,
experience prior to Petra.
yeah,
And you know what? And I had a great mentor. I'll tell you that when I got my first big position at the previous company, corner office, the whole bit. He came into my office and sat down and said, "Don't do anything." And I said, "What?" And of course, here I am. I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably less than 30 years old. And I've had a lot of power and took over the U.S. And he comes into my office and he says, "My advice to you is don't do anything." And I said, "What?" He said, "Don't do anything." So for the next year, travel, meet your customers, talk to your customers, get to know the team, see what's really going on internally, externally, then make decisions.
hmm,
So that's what I did. I went out and heard the complaints. I heard the good, the bad, the ugly, heard it internally, externally, and then little by little, we started putting out programs. There's that word
I
again.
wish if I could go back in time, I wish I either had a mastermind group or a mentor. I was 22, and so I just thought I can sell my way through any of this stuff. And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so it like at 22, I was some sales expert or something. And so uh, it took about a year. And if I had to hear one more time, I can buy this because back then J&L was only direct mail, right?
yeah, right.
If I can buy this direct mail piece for 56 cents. Why would I pay you $1.50? All right.
Yeah,
And so I finally hearing these excuses and objections, I finally said, man, I got to handle this up front. I'm not positioned. I got to do something different.
right.
Right. And so very similar. I Sandy Cerami interviewed me once and I said, I got lucky. You work your way into luck, I believe. But what I meant by I got lucky was I didn't go in with a strategy. I had no strategy. I didn't know what I was doing, right? In terms of building a company. I've never done it before. But exactly what you just said, I went out, there was a year I went out, and back then we had no internet, right? This is early
Right. No, no,
90s.
no. You had to physically get out and see
You were on
people.
the road, and it was 55,000 miles a year is what
Yeah.
I was driving for 2 straight years. And I interviewed a lot of the top dealers and the general managers, exactly what you just said. And lo and behold, I was like, all these people that have success with what we're doing, these are the things they're doing before, during, and after every event. And the ones that don't have the same level, incomplete success, we'll call it, they're not doing these things. So why am I not training and giving superior support, to your point, right? And showing everybody how to do this? If they all did this, if they all, to your point, what you just said, follow the process, the percentage of people that are going to have success and achieve what they're really buying my services for, that's going to go way up. We started doing that. That led to another, and I want to make this about J&L, but that led to, J&L came down to, we just offered superior, what we did with deep data, our marketing strategy, and superior support. There might be some people that do one or two of those things, but nobody did all three of them. And all three of those things allowed us to handle so many price, saturation, every objection I could handle in one of those three things. And I did it up front. So to your point, when you're talking about packaging, and it is truly the key, because what you've got to do, what you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying if I don't have your support and your training and your process, there's a 0% chance I'm going to net the same amount of profit and have as many happy customers if I choose this other guy.
Or you're going to be the same, right? You're going to be flat. And my intent is not to come into your dealership and just be as good as the other guy.
That's right.
Right? My intent is to come into your dealership and be better than the other guy. So to be better than the other guy, then you're going to have to allow me to do a couple of tweaks to the program you have, because I've been in this for 33 years. I know this business, my side of the world. I know it inside and out, and I need your trust.
Yeah.
Right? How do I get that trust? There's no contract. I'm not making you sign an obligation you're going to be with me for a year or two. I'm telling you, give me a chance. Let me put my process in place, and then let me know in 30 days if I didn't knock it out of the park.
And how often do we hear client experience? That those two words get thrown around probably as much as anything. And mastermind's another one. But client experience. But what you're demonstrating, you're not talking about client experience. You're delivering on it. Because all those headaches, you mentioned that chain. Well, this employee is going to then bring this up the ladder and this up the ladder and up the ladder. And all of a sudden they're hearing all this stuff because teams aren't trained properly, or they're not getting the proper support. When those things don't happen, it is a elevated client experience. They don't necessarily see it on your website. They don't necessarily see it, but they feel it and they know it's there because they're not dealing with crap. I tell Jamil over at J&L back when I was involved, I was like, IT support. We always outsource our infrastructure part of it, the servers, all that type of stuff. I said, Jamil, let me tell you how I know I have a good company. When I never have to call them. All right. That's how I know I have a good support partner.
If you don't have to get me involved, then then that's good. Right.
That's right.
And I only want to know when I have to, right? I don't want to be involved in everything if it's working well.
Exactly.
But that's what it is. It's a less headache, following the process, giving us a chance to do what we know how to do, there's different owners. Some guys don't want to deal with it, so they just, a new service manager comes in and they want to change, and then they get another service manager and he changes, and they never grow and succeed because it's a continuous change, right? Well, that's also a problem, because they're not following the process. They're just, instead of being involved and making sure that things get in right, every service manager that comes in is a buddy with this guy. Doesn't matter price, doesn't matter programs, doesn't matter anything. I'm just going to put him in. Well, then the next guy comes in, and he's buddies over here with this guy, right? So everything that was done here goes away. Now we start all over. Well, 3, 4, 5 years of doing that, it's going to be a bad scenario.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and I think I know the answer. How has this philosophy changed your actual business model, right? And here's where I'm going with this. There are plenty of businesses out there with these huge sales teams, decent support team, and this and that. What's that balance look like with you guys?
uh, so explain that again. What you're trying to the
Oh, I'll
question?
give you an example. I'll give you an example. We used to be back when I ran J&L, we were a sales organization that did marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're a marketing organization that has to sell it. And what I mean by that is this. I used to have, I mean, we got up to 32 salespeople nationwide. You know how many we have
Look,
today? We have total of 3, and that counts our CEO, Jamil. And
yeah,
here's what he completely flipped it based on what you said. He
I'm going to
said,
tell you. I say this often and all the time. We are a marketing company. Um, I do
for your
feel we're,
client.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We are a marketing company. We serve as a service to our customers as a marketing company to promote them and make them successful, bring customer retention. We're a marketing company. Now we do have a sales team, but I think it's probably right that marketing is forefront, which gives the ability for people to sell something, including our
Yeah.
distributors. But I can tell you, we spend 9 months out of the year figuring out the next program, the marketing, the changes. I mean, we have a convention coming up in March 23rd. I can tell you it's since the year started, it's 14 hours a day. I just got out of a meeting, 14 hours a day, nonstop, focused on everything that's going to be presented at that convention, marketing aspect, right? Promotions, launches, changes, all to give the tools necessary to our team. But it's all marketing based for them to go to the customer and give that experience.
We took all the money, not all the money we were paying this sales team, right? And put it into analyst. This is simplifying what actually happened,
Right, 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 right.
but Jamil just came up and he goes, because in it, we're every industry is the same. This is why I love this topic. It is when dealers have went from 5, 6, 7 agencies, digital marketing agencies, right? Um, when they've used 5 or 6 and the results, they don't notice that much difference in the results, this and that. Well, they start thinking everybody's the same,
Right.
right? And so in the end, even if you have better results, which we do, all right, it doesn't matter if it's not communicated. And more importantly, if you're not aligning the results with what to a strategy that the dealership actually wants to accomplish, right? And more importantly, communicating and offering support, whether that's weekly, daily, monthly, whatever the client needs, and always adjusting and tweaking to hit that. He completely flipped where we put our resources to support training, education, and the sales. Most of our stuff comes from referral.
Yeah.
And we don't lose clients. It's I mean, I'm not, everybody loses clients, but for the most part, we do not lose clients. And it's
I know we get that. I mean, like we'll have people sometimes say, well, why don't you put an ad in automotive news or whatever? That's not our clients come by Scott telling somebody, man, you really
that's
should
right.
use this, right? That is worth more money than anything else because it's a personal experience, right? And people gravitate to personal experience, to testimonials. Not that there's anything wrong with ads and that kind of stuff, but it's just in our world, and we do it sometimes, but it's limited because it really is a person to person thing.
Yeah.
That's
I
that
was going to get
relationship
you.
building.
You give me the perfect segues. I was literally going to ask you, like, let's talk a little bit about relationship building as a key differentiator, right? Um,
Look, I,
if
I
you
just
don't,
got asked
if
this. I just got asked this question 2 days, no, last Thursday, about, and we had a very large group that was here, that we're trying to get, and we had a blast and did the presentation and walked the plant and the warehouse, and we were actually drinking bourbon at the place where we interviewed you. I won't say the
yep.
name, but the place where we interviewed you, and
Why don't you want to drop that name? That's
well,
a
I
great
mean, I could.
place.
I just went, yeah, the
Yeah, you
blend in
could
the
drop it.
Woodlands,
That place
Texas
is
is one of the
awesome.
top. Yeah. So we're there in the boardroom. I'll send you a picture when we're done. We're there in the boardroom, and um,
That's where we
um,
were.
That's where we
Is that
were.
what that's called?
That's
Yeah.
that's
All
right.
right.
That's called the boardroom,
This is
which
so
is really like a
badass.
living room in a lodge. It looks like a living room in a
Oh,
lodge.
it's
But
awesome.
but he says to me, of everybody that I've met in this industry, he goes, "There's something different about you guys, and I like it." And even there was two guys there, and I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "We came into your office, we talked business, we left, and all we've done after that is talk about our relationship, family, cars, where we traveled, what we've done, what kind of bourbon we like, how was your steak, what's the best steakhouse you've been to." I believe, and as corny as it sounds, and I tell this to ourselves all the time, every customer must be a friend,
Yeah.
right? Now, maybe you start out as friends and they become customers. Maybe you start out as customers and then they become friends. But somehow, somewhere at the end, you have to have a relationship with your customers where you're truly friends. And when I say that, I don't say that lightly. I say that like you go to concerts together, you travel together, you go out to eat together, you'll fly to an event and take them and their wives out to eat. They'll come to your town. Look, I got, as you know, the charity that we have, Petra Cares, I got a list of people, right? And I have all these events going on in the first quarter. And I have dealer owners where they go, okay, which one do I need to be there? Where, do you need me here? Do you need, Michael Pearl, who uh, you
Yeah.
know, I'll be there for all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just because you have to have that relationship that goes above and beyond. And so you have to have the programs and you have to have the relationships. And if you do that, and on the program side, you gotta actually on both. I'm gonna say this. On the program side, you always have to be reinventing something better and something new, okay, in the programs. And on the relationship side, you always have to cultivate it, right? It cannot be a once in a year phone call, right? I every morning I get my phone out and I search for people that I haven't talked to in a couple of months, and I'll send them a text. How you doing? Hey, I hope all is well. Haven't talked to you. We got to get together, right? It's got to be a continuous building
Yeah.
of a relationship, right? It's got to be sincere. It's got to be real. Some people will tell you, well, that'll take forever. Maybe, but that's how you build a good business. That's how you build, in my opinion, a solid business. Where your friends are your customers and your customers become your friend. Then they're actually, when they're friends, they're actually true. They have more mercy on you when mistakes happen, but they're
Yeah.
also honest with you and give you great ideas, because they can
That's right.
sit down with you and they can say, okay, I know you're not going to like this, but if this label was purple, it'd be better. And
Yeah.
here's why. And then he goes away and you kind of think about what he says and you ask other people. And because you have that friendship, you can actually have honest conversations about how to make the company better, which benefits you and them.
And I think it's important for everybody listening or watching. When Arnold talks about being friends, he's not talking about manufactured friendships. All right. He's not doing it because he's expecting, oh, this will help me retain a client. He becomes friends just because that's who he is, and
Yeah,
he likes the
100%.
person, and and
100%.
and and so, I think that's important. I think it's got to be authentic. And in Michael Poro, I'll give you two quick stories. Michael Poro, who you'd mentioned, his wife passed a few years ago, and he goes, the first people that reached out were all from kind of our group, whether it's business bourbon and cigars, me plus ultra. Um, and I'm in the process of doing a book, and the guy's interviewing me, Mario, who and he goes, "So how long have you known Arnold?" And I'm like, I feel like I think probably 3, maybe 4 years. And how long you known John Traver? And how long have you known Dave Boyle? And how long have you known Sandy? And all these people, right on down the list.
Hmm.
Outside of Jamil, who I've known since he started to learn how to read and write. All right.
Yeah.
Outside of that, and I was, by the way, back then I was, I have no shame in saying that I used to kick his ass consistently in Tecmo Bowl, even though he was young. I did what I could to keep it close, but it was too hard. But my best friends, he was shocked that all these people were inside of 5 years. He thought I'd known these people almost my whole life
For your whole life,
because
yeah.
we're close. And
Yeah.
it's like, I was taken aback because I had never thought of it. And I'm sitting there thinking, holy crap. And so, but I don't think you and I are friends because of a business. We
No,
kind of like
we were
hanging.
friends. We
And
were friends before,
yeah, that's
right?
right.
Michael Pearl was friends for at least 2 years before he ever bought from me,
That's right. That's
right?
right.
We were friends.
Yep.
I think, I mean, and again, I think it's important. It brings out the best in both companies. It brings out honesty, and you help each other, and you truly work to make things better. Again, you can have, and even, and again, you can have that one crazy situation where somebody says, "Well, my service manager wants to do this." I still stay friends with the owner, right?
Yeah,
Because it's a small world. Don't burn the
that's right.
bridge, and we're
I
friends.
was
And if
going to
you're
ask you that question. How many
if you're
clients have left you that you remain friends with?
still with,
Yeah,
because it's not, my friendship is not based on you buying. That's
that's
fake.
right.
That's false,
That's
right?
exactly right.
So
Yep.
I'm here if you need me. Call me if you need me, and it's not. I'm not. I just. I hate hypocrisy and fake stuff.
So
If you would
so clearly,
light my fire up, I hate that stuff.
so clearly this goes right to client retention. I mean, there's no way it doesn't have a major impact on client retention, but it goes bigger. It's bigger. It's much bigger than that. Think of think of the amount of referrals you get from someone who really wants to help you as a friend versus just a business associate, right?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
how about just the network of
And me
opportunities?
calling and saying, "Hey, I got this deal that I'm working on. Can you talk to this guy?" And they're ready to
Yeah,
talk and they're ready to do it. Or like my convention where we've invited a Monarchy owner, a Christian Brothers owner, a dealer, right, to share. So it's kind of three different, right? Kind of like a quick lube type, a repair shop, and a dealership to all talk about the relationship with us and our distributors.
yeah, yeah. We got a question here from Randy Tucker on Facebook. And he says, Gary, I think he means you, but there could be, I don't get all the comments. So there might be a Gary who made a comment some point in the, on one of the social channels. But yeah, this goes right to referral testimonial questions, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing greater than his little making his question or comment shorter. If your client's happy and we're all making money at it, man, how great is that?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, how great is that?
That's right. So let's talk, let's shift directions just a tad here. What do you, everybody wants to differentiate themselves. All right. Everybody wants to rise above all the noise and stand out. Easier said than done. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see happen from businesses trying to differentiate themselves?
Well, I see businesses. In fact, there's one in particular competitor of ours that I think the track record that they have for the last few years will show you that it was wrong. They went the option of, I'm going to, dealers may not care about this. So I'm going to lower the formulation. I'm going to make things in China. Most of the industry has 11 ounce. They have 8. And he cheapened the product.
Yeah.
That hurts him and the rest of us, right? Because the
Yep.
people be like, well, this guy walked in and I get it. It's made in China. It's not the same thing, blah 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 blah. And people are beginning to get it. Before period, there, he dirtied the industry,
That's right.
right?
That's
Because
right.
and so now today, the industry is realizing, man, that wasn't the right move. He's lost a tremendous amount of customers and national accounts because his route was, instead of being the service, becoming the friend, making the right chemistry, developing programs, he opted to, I'm going to make this even cheaper.
Let me tell you something. This is funny. You remember Bob Rohrman,
Yes.
great dealer, passed away. Was it maybe 3 or 4 years ago? Feels like that. Might have been longer. He was a great client of ours for a long time. And when we first signed him, to your point, tainting the whole industry, he must have been burned by some type of company that was doing direct mail, whatever it might. Do you know he used to send an employee down from all the way up near Chicago, 5.5 hour drive down to Louisville, and watch us print and drop the mail? I kid you not.
Because he thought maybe you weren't.
Correct. He was so worried about getting charged and paying for something he wasn't actually getting. He used to send someone down for a
Oh my
solid year and a
God.
half before he finally realized, oh, all right, I guess they're
Okay,
good.
they're keeping their word.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's okay.
But that goes to your point. That goes right to your point, right? When just because it's you, not you, doing something that shouldn't be done, right? It puts a black mark. It's no different than selling cars.
Yeah, he
There's a
probably
few
caught
bad
right. So he
apples
probably
that
caught
make the
somebody
whole industry
before.
look bad.
He probably caught somebody before doing that, and now he's got that in his head,
That's
and
right.
he's leery, right? That's why
That's right.
I love when dealer groups come visit us. I love it. I tell
Yeah,
them all the time, come kick the tires, right? Because they're going to come in here, they're going to see the people, they're going to feel, the excitement. They're going to walk the warehouse, they're going to see the bottles flying down the lines. Then we're going to go eat a good
yeah,
steak. I mean, it's just I love for them to come here because it's an incredible experience, right? That they might not have had somewhere else,
that's right.
right? We're an
So
open book.
so there's a lot of businesses. Maybe they're listening to this and they're like, "It's." Have you ever listened to an idea and thought, "Oh wow, it's a good idea, but that'll work well in that industry, but how would I don't know how, like, I can't grasp how I would do that in my own,"
Yeah.
right? I think we've all been there at some point. Like, we
Hmm.
get it conceptually, then when we try to put it down on paper and action plan it out, it becomes a little more difficult. So for the businesses that are feeling trapped, they're hearing it and they buy into this philosophy on how to do this. What's the first step you think they should take?
Well, I think they got to take a step backwards, and I think they have to kind of do a new business plan. And that's hard for business, especially when it's your baby.
Yeah,
But you have to step back and go, this plan is not working, or I took a turn somewhere down the line that I should not. If I had to rebuild it, how would I rebuild it knowing what I know? And then you start making decisions to go that way. And
yeah,
those decisions may be a few steps back, a few steps sideways, but you can't keep going down that route or you're going to be in trouble.
that's right.
So you're
You,
going to have to stop, take a breather, step back. I would also advise you to bring some of your, again, if you happen to have customers that are really good friends of yours, they're not going to kick you out. Bring them in and say, man, I think I made some mistakes. What do you think about this? What's good? Get their advice. And then bring your top people, right? Like I got three people in my office that are my right hand people, right? And they know that they can look at me and say that's the most dumbest thing I've ever heard, and they're not going to get fired, right? And
yeah.
so I bring those three people in, and I go, okay, what do you think about this? And they will tell me, no, I think it's wrong. Don't do this, and here's this. Sometimes they're too vocal, actually, but you
And
know,
but they're going to tell you exactly what the programs or packages should be.
yeah,
And
exactly,
here's how that would go, right? And so let me say, I was thinking about this. Everyone always, like, if I had to sell against you, right? Everyone knows you don't bash a competitor, but easy, once again, easier said than done. Some people can't help it. All right. So I'm a competitor of yours. I'm going up against Arnold. Well, they're more expensive. They're this, they're this, they're this. And of course, if they're loyal to you, what that does is it puts the buyer, the dealer, in a position to want, at least, he may not do it outwardly, but in his mind, he's defending you because, for one, he likes you. He's been loyal to you. Um, and he's also got to justify why he's buying from you.
yeah,
Right.
no, for sure,
So that's the reasons you don't bash. Plus, it looks bad on you. There's an indirect way and an elegant way to do it that can also give you the information. I think you could use the same question. So if I'm selling against you, and so be ready, Arnold. All your competitors are going to be out there doing this to you now. So if one of my first questions is, I'm asking, oh man, I'm Petra. They do an awesome job. How long have you been with them? This and that. What are a couple things that you really love about them? And then we'll find out why. So for one, that gives me if I'm not doing those things,
Yeah,
um,
it gives you data, it gives you
it
information.
gives correct. I know
Yeah.
that I can have a package where I need to start doing these things, and or if I am doing these things, I got to make sure I emphasize these when I'm selling, right? But if I'm selling against someone, and I reverse this when I'm asking about ourselves. So I start on the positive, and then I ask this question: what are 2 or 3 things that you really wish Arnold's company would do differently? And they'll give me that. All right. I'm not bashing you. And I'm going to say, why is that important? By not doing that, what do you think that's cost you, say, over the last 12 months, maybe 3 years? If they did do this, what do you think that would move you to? And why would, so now all of a sudden he's thinking, and now hopefully he said 1 or 2 things that I do, all right, that
Yeah.
counter that, right?
No, it's
It's,
very, very true because you walk him through an analysis,
that's
right?
exactly
Instead of
right.
you coming in, you're bringing him to his own analysis. And I agree with you. I always say find out a way to break down the wall, right? That they all put a wall up, right? So we got to break down this
That's right.
wall somehow, some way, right? And I will say things similar like that. Like I'll say, what do you like about so and so? And let's just say they say, I like the warranty. And I'll
Yeah.
say, okay, yeah, they got a great warranty. We just made ours a little bit bigger. As an example, on this, they only pay this, we pay this. And then the guy's looking at you because he doesn't know. The guy's looking at you, go, really? Yeah. If you
Yeah.
had a problem here, what their claim is this. And you pay how
Yeah.
much? Right? Because they heard it was good,
That's right.
but they don't know the terms.
That's right.
Right? So we're like, okay, great. Since that's the thing you like the most, here's ours.
And by the way, one thing I always told our salespeople, we were rarely the least expensive back in that day. Sometimes we were 50% more. And so,
Wow.
but if we did run into a competitor when well, we offered a lot. To your
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
we
yeah.
packaged things that we put things in there that they could not shop. There was no, it was a bit impossible to compare price, and it offered so much value. They didn't care. They were like, yeah, because it's going to get me this, this, and this, which is more important to me than the price. And so, but where was I going with this? So you threw me off, Arnold. So, so all right. So,
I said
uh,
about asking the question.
oh, yeah. So when you on the times that you are lower, I always told our salespeople, you don't need to bring that up. They know we're lower.
Yeah,
I said, they know what they're paying. If you bring it up, you don't need to make it about price because I want to buy them for these other reasons, not the price.
yeah, yeah.
If they buy, to your point early, if they buy for price, they leave you for price.
They leave you
Um,
and they leave you fast.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's well
there's no
said.
loyalty, there's no investment in it. Again, we
That's
had this
right.
group here, and I said, look, I think, and he's got a lot of dealers around, and they use different people. I said, we're going to be cheaper here, we're going to be lower priced here, we're going to be higher priced here. You know, there's a reason for it. And I kind of went down the map and said, it's going to be good here, and price is going to be different. He looked, he goes, hey, after visiting you, it's not about price.
Yeah.
He said that.
It's about net result.
Yeah.
It's
You
just about
know,
the net result. That's
but I
right.
also tell him that I know the industry, right? So I'm just telling you right now, without even looking at your price list, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
you know, I said, and I also said, and you probably have, and it was funny
Well,
because
that gives you tremendous credibility.
absolutely. And I
Um,
said, and you probably have dealerships that are serviced by that they're buying this certain brand that have so many distributors in that area that every store has a different price. And he looked at me and says, you are right.
yeah. All right. So give me if you could leave business owners out there with just one takeaway from today, what would it be?
Um, look, don't sell on price, I guess. I mean, that would be my thing. Don't sell on price. You're gonna fall into a bad situation. Don't sell on price. Sell on who you are and the ability that you have, the knowledge you have, the experience you have. Look, I've been in this for 33 years, 34 years this May. There's a price to that knowledge,
Yeah.
right? I've learned, I've failed, I saw what worked, what didn't work. There's no experiment. I can tell you exactly what's going to work at a dealership. So there's a value to that. Now you can go out there and find this other company. There's a value to using quality product, right? Because if you use junk product, you're going to have products like catalytic converters getting hot, burning up the car. Oh, I shouldn't have used that product. Right. That's what cheap product does. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you just have to just don't sell on price. I mean, if it's one takeaway, don't sell on price. I'll add a couple takeaways to that. Build relationships and build value around whatever it is you sell.
That's 100%. I'm gonna give one last story. Shell's a client, obviously. They used to bring us in. They're fighting a commodity battle. We talked about it earlier in
Yeah.
that. When you're going to an OEM, it is very easy for the OEM and for these oil companies. Well, they give us this amount of money back. Well, then they're not discounting price, but technically they are, right? And the point and the reason they went with us is because we could deliver for their clients something that could not be measured. And it was a superior result. And in the end, the dealer just wanted to make more, net more. And through us, and that far surpassed any amount of money back to the OEM that, say, Shell or whoever was willing to pay. Because every oil company, if Shell's going to cut back a check to the OEM for this amount of money that can, the OEM can then distribute to dealers and do whatever with, well, the next oil it's just a check. Everybody can do that. It's just money. It's a race to the bottom again. Yep. And so what services, what value, to your point, what value can you provide? And my advice would be, just like Arnold did when he was on the road, listening to clients, getting data, getting feedback. Take that, and whatever you're doing well, how do we improve on that? And whatever we're lacking that they wish they had, there's a lot of times those things can be solved with virtually very little capital investment. It's just a time and effort thing that needs to happen. And a repositioning, maybe your model, your business model, to your point, your business plan needs to change a little bit. But once that's done, it's like opening the floodgates in terms of new clients in business. So I got to tell you, one of the more fun, robust conversations I've had in a long time. I loved it, buddy.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Incredible insights on how to escape a commodity trap. And I'll go to this view for you so we can see the bourbon. That's the real juice, Arnold. That's the value. That's the most valuable juice right back there.
Hold on, let me get one out so that I can do my own promotion here. That you love this one.
Oh no. Listen, I know bourbon's on that. I know that's actually good. Bourbon's on that bottle, but we all know where bourbon is made, buddy. And it's up here in the Ville.
It's made in Texas now.
They should be forced to call that whiskey.
Nope, that's Tennessee now.
All right, so some key takeaways that we got from today, right? It's not about lowering prices. It's about increasing value. I think that's the number one point that you were making. Focus on relationships, superior service, and education. That's going to those things are going to allow you to stand out, build trust, and really, I don't want to say command a higher price. It depends on the business model, but if nothing else, it allows you, even with competitive prices, right, to retain those clients. So I love it. If you found this valuable, make sure you share this episode with your networks out there. Appreciate it, either in private messages or share it on your timelines with fellow business owners. A lot of people probably need to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe to Me Plus Ultra at meplusultra.com. If you're looking at us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there and follow us on all the other channels. Check out Me Plus Ultra Network. That's our YouTube channel. So Me Plus Ultra Network. And got all kinds of videos up there, variety of different content for a lot of different business insights that cover a lot of different topics. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Arnold.
You're welcome.